All right. Several years ago, there was a commercial on TV I think it was for like a website, a job finding website, monster.com or one of those. And it was sort of a funny commercial, but it was also sort of depressing. It showed all these little kids, and they were asking the little kids what they wanted to be when they grow up. They were saying what they wanted to be, but they said things that little kids would never say. Like, when I grow up, I want to file all day. Or, I want to claw my way up to middle management. Or, I want to be a yes man. Or, I want to be unappreciated. I want to be paid less for doing the same job. Or, my favorite one, I want to be forced into early retirement. And the point of the commercial, obviously, is that little kids never say that. When you ask a little kid what they want to be when they grow up, they want to do stuff that no school in the world offers a course for, you know. I want to be like an astronaut during the week and a cowboy on the weekends, or I want to be a underwater veterinarian or whatever. Little kids are always wanting to be great stuff. Paula Poundstone said that's why adults are always asking little kids what they want to be. We're looking for ideas. And they have great ideas. But of course, the commercial was also saying that the older we get, the less we aspire to, the less we expect to happen, the less we hope for. We've been talking since the beginning of the year about we've been doing a series of sermons called What If? What If? Whatever. And I'll just ask you again, you don't have to answer, but just sort of think about it. What would your what if be? What would be like the one thing that you would need right now that would make your life more than what it is? I heard about a church that really asked their folks this and had folks share their answers. They asked them to think about their life and then fill in the blank. What if blank? And of course, some people tried to answer with a little humor, like what if the hokey pokey really was what it's all about? Or this one I kind of like. What if butter, sugar, salt, and caramel are the cure to all terminal diseases, and we just haven't been eating enough of them? I kind of like that one. Some people were a little more reflective about it. They said, what if this is as good as it gets? Which I think is a movie. What if I had not squandered so much of my life? What if I got out of my comfort zone? Or what if the diagnosis was different? Or what if I cherished my spouse? Or what if I lived like I had enough? And some people then kind of gave answers that were coming from a place of faith, kind of reflected their faith a little more. What if this world is not all that there is? What if Jesus had not died for me? What if I chose to walk by faith even when I cannot see? Or someone said, what if we spent every moment of every day following after and serving Jesus as our first priority? And they added, our real first priority, not just the one we put down on paper when people ask us. Or one person just said, what if all of this is true? What if all of this is really true? Well, what would your what if be? What is the one thing that you would to kind of kick your life into a higher gear? Jesus said, famously, I have come that you may have life and that you may have it abundantly. And I think, what is abundant life? What is Jesus talking about? What makes life abundant? How do you know if you're living abundantly? And that's sort of what I want to talk about today. What if we really lived I mean, not just stayed alive. What if we really lived? Now, this is just sort of my thinking. So, take this as what you will. I didn't get this from anywhere or anything, but the way I see it, there are three basic ways to approach life. Three basic ways to approach life. And one is to just live. Just live. I mean, and this is probably the approach that most people take, I think. You just live your life, right? You don't think about it too much. Don't worry about it too much. Just live your life. You go to school because you're supposed to, and you get out of school and you go get a job because that's what people do, and you get married and you have kids because that's what people do, and maybe even you go to church because that's how you were brought up, and you just sort of live. You don't think about too much about what the point of it is or why you're here. You just kind of fill in your time, you just kind of live. I try to have fun now and then and just kind of make it to the end of this thing. Keep putting dinner on the table. And I think a lot of people probably kind of live that way. The problem with that is, well, obviously, that's not much of a way to live, right? Life is a gift. Life is a gift, and we need to make it count. And I think about Socrates. Socrates said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." There's some truth there. There's some truth there. You know that this is true. I was shocked by this, but this is absolute fact. There are people in this world who really, truly believe that our world is headed for a zombie apocalypse. I'm not making this up. They believe that one of these days zombies are going to rise up out of the ground or wherever, like in the horror movies or like in the Michael Jackson video, if you remember seeing that one. They're going to rise up. And, they're just these, like, what they are. They're like dead people, and they move real slow. And they don't talk. They just kind of go, and they say people are actually believe this is going to happen. They're stockpiling food and stockpiling guns and bullets and stuff. And you know something? I've thought about it. I think they're right. I've decided I think they're right. I think it's happening already. Hey, if you live later on today, go to Walmart. See what's looking around. Or go to the Department of Motor Vehicles. I'll say, go to some churches on Sunday morning. Look at me some days, right? Look at me some days. There's a guy named Mike Burrow who says this. He says, this is what your life can turn into. He says, you wake up at the same old time, get out of the same old bed, go to the same old bathroom, look into the same old mirror, shave the same old face, take the same old shower, dry off with the same old towel, walk into the same old kitchen, pour the same old cereal into the same old bowl, kiss the same old wife on the same old cheek, get in the same old car, drive off to the same old job, sit in the same old chair, listen to the same old boss tell the same old jokes, laugh the same old laugh, clock out at the same old time, get back in the same old car, drive down the same old road to the same old house to the same old door, eat the same old dinner, fall asleep in the same old chair during the same old news, get up, go back to the same old bed, ask your wife the same old question, get the same old answer, roll over, go back to sleep. And that's it. From one day to the next day to the next day. I think we all know life is too much of a gift to live it like that. The second approach to life, then, I think is sort of the opposite. It's to live it up, right? And this approach says, hey, come on, life is short. I mean, we are only on this earth for just a very, very brief amount of time. You got to make it count. right? You're going to die one of these days. You better try to pack your life with as many amazing experiences as you can. I used to know a kid that used to eat with that philosophy. Like he was trying to pack himself with as many amazing experiences as he could. Wasn't very pleasant to be around. Several years ago, there was a guy named Warren Zevon. You might know him. He's a singer and a songwriter, and he was diagnosed with lung cancer, terminal lung cancer. And he went on the David Letterman show, and they were talking about his terminal cancer. And Letterman said, as somebody who is about to die, he said, is there anything you know I don't know? And Warren Zevon said, yeah, enjoy every sandwich. Sort of like that. Enjoy every sandwich. There's a, I don't know what you call it, a word, a slogan, whatever. It's sort of hip and popular right now, especially on the internet. You might have seen it. YOLO, Y-O-L-O. Have you seen that one? It says it means you only live once. And people like take pictures of themselves holding up signs that say YOLO, and they put YOLO on Facebook. And most of the time, it's somebody that's about to do something monumentally stupid. You know, I'm going to jump off the roof of my 2-story house into my swimming pool. You only live once, right? And people put this on their shirts and they get it tattooed on. I saw somebody had it tattooed on the inside of their lip. YOLO. And again, most of the time, like college students about to make a horrible choice. But we're supposed to think about, you know, what would you do if you knew this was your last day on earth? How would you spend it? How would you make this day count? Live this day to its fullest? Now, I think we all would agree that there is something to this, right? There is something to this. It's way better than the zombie thing. And then life is a gift, and we should live it. And life every single day really is a miracle. It really is a miracle. And we should do something that is just ridiculously amazing with each day. But the problem with this sort of whole philosophy, the way I see it, it's just me, but the way I see it, some days you just got to do the laundry. You know? I mean, there's days when you just got to do the laundry. And I'm not sure that doing laundry is living the day to its fullest. And I'm pretty sure that doing the laundry is not how I would want to spend my last day on the face of the earth. But on the other hand, you're not going to be living life to its fullest wearing the same drawers all week either, right? Some days you just got to do things that aren't that amazing. The other problem with this is, if you think about it, it is kind of a selfish way to live. It's self-centered. It's about me. It's about my life. What do I want to do with my life before I die? But the real problem with it is, this only makes sense if this is it. If all we get is this life on earth, if all we get is we're born, we live 70 or 80 years max, we die, they put us in a box, and then we're Purina worm chow. If that is all there is, then yeah, I would say you probably better have as many experiences, wonderful experiences as you can. You better probably live it up. But if this is not it, if this is just the beginning of something, if there's more to this life than life on earth, that changes everything. And that is the point of view of the third approach to life, I think, to live with purpose. We believe in God. We believe that God made us. That's why we're here. And God didn't put us here for no reason. He put us here for a purpose. He put us here for a reason. Life has meaning. And because God created us, we don't have to try to figure out what the meaning of life, the purpose of life is for us. There's a million books on this, a million seminars you can take, classes, tapes you can listen to, all kinds of stuff about the meaning of life. And they all start out the same way. Write down all of the things that you're good at. Write down all of the things that you're interested in, all of your passions, all of your values, all of your goals, and look at that and then distill from that the purpose of life. No. We were put here by God. We don't have to figure out, we don't have to come up with what the meaning of life is. All we have to do is discover what our purpose is already, because God has given it to us. So what I want to do now in closing, I'm almost done. What I want to do here at the end, I want to just sort of give you the meaning of life in 5 minutes, which is stupid and impossible. But what I really want to do is just sort of make a couple of observations about the purpose, the meaning of life. All right? And one is that life is a school. I think you've heard me say this before. I think life is a school. This life is, you don't know how hard it was to find a picture of North Central School on the computer. I don't know why they're afraid to take pictures of their school. This life is not all there is. This life is just the beginning. This life is a preparation. It is a training ground. It's a prelude. We're here to learn. We are here to learn things that we will need to know for eternity. This is sort of like eternity trade school or something. Life is a school. And let's be honest. I mean, no, we got a couple of teachers here. Let's be honest. No offense, but school's hard. School is tough. When I was younger, I used to think I wanted to spend the rest of my life in school, and for a while I almost did. But now, I'll be honest with you. I'm 46 years old, and there are still some mornings when I lay in bed, especially when it's 12 degrees outside, and I hear the school buses going by. There are still days when I think, I'm so glad I don't have to go to school today. I'm so glad my mom didn't come in, wake me up and tell me to go to school. And at 46 years old, I still have that nightmare about once a year, the first day of school, and you have to go to class, and I can't find my schedule anywhere. You ever have that? Or the one where it's the end of the school year and I have to go take the big final exam and I forgot to go to that class the whole year. You ever do that one? School is tough. It's hard. My wife, as you know, has started going back to school, and bless her heart, she's excited about this. She's just electric about it. She goes to these classes and she's learning these amazing things, and she's coming home with these brand new books with titles that I don't understand, and she's doing homework and she's writing papers, and it looks awful. It looks terrible, and I think, I'll light a candle for her. Better her than me. I don't think I could do it at my age. School is not easy, but life is a school, and that's why life is not always easy, because we're here to learn. We're here to learn how to love. We're here to learn how to trust. We're here to learn how to worship. We're here to learn things that we need to know in eternity, and that takes some doing. That takes some doing. So when life is hard sometimes, it's not necessarily because you did something wrong. And it's not necessarily because the universe has decided to pick on you. Sometimes it's just the way that we learn. And I hasten to add this too. When you think about your best teachers, the greatest teachers that you had, what is the thing that they all have in common? I think the best teachers I had were the ones that were able to make learning fun, at least for a little bit. I had a teacher named Mr. Newmeyer, I think. Mr. Newmeyer. He was my high school physics teacher. I don't remember why I took physics in high school, but I did. And he sort of made it fun. I remember one of the things he did, he had us make cars out of mouse traps. Like little cars, and the only power they had was a mousetrap. And then we went out in the hall and we had this contest to see whose mousetrap car could go the farthest distance, right? And I recall, mine did pretty good until it hit the wall. It hit the wall, and that's why I'm preaching today instead of designing cars somewhere. But the point is, I still remember, sort of, the stuff that I was supposed to learn from that. I still kind of vaguely recall the physics that he was trying to teach us with that. And I don't remember what I did last week. And I think the best teachers make learning fun. And the only point I'm making is that God is an even better teacher than Mr. Newmeyer. And God sometimes makes learning fun. And that's why life is fun too. All right. The second thing I want to say about life is that life is a mission. I think this is important. I'm sorry. Something wrong with my mouth today. Life is a mission. You remember, there used to be an old TV show, and then now it's like a series of movies too. But it used to be a show called Mission Impossible. That was a good show. I vaguely remember watching it when I was a kid. And every episode Mission Impossible started the same way. The main guy, the head Mission Impossible guy, Peter Graves, would be like in some weird place, like an airplane or a train or something, and he'd find a package, and inside the package there'd be this tape recorder and like some pictures, and the tape recorder would tell him what he was supposed to do that week. Here's what you're supposed to do this week. And then the part I liked, it would say, and this tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds. And that was my favorite part as a kid because the tape would blow up. The tape always began the same way. It always said, your mission, if you choose to accept it. And I always liked that. I always thought that was kind of interesting. He had a choice whether he wanted to do it or not. And I always thought they should have made one episode where he listened to the tape and said, nah, thanks for thinking of me, but I'm just going to sit in my shorts and watch TV today. They never made that one, but I like that. And we have a mission, should we choose to accept it. And we need to understand, though, that until we accept our mission, we will never be really living, because this is why we were put here. This is what we were designed to do. From God's point of view, life is not about how much money you make or how cool a car you drive or how much square footage you have in your house. It's not about what you achieve or how many pieces of paper you got on the wall or how good looking your spouse is. And it's not about how many amazing experiences you can work in before you die. From God's point of view, this life is a mission. We are here to do a mission. And the big mission is obvious, right? We're here to love people and we're here to spread the light. How you fit particularly into that mission varies from person to person. Your mission is unique, and it probably even changes as you go through different stages of life. But here's the thing. If you can't say what your mission is in just a few words, you probably don't have one. You probably don't know what it is. But God can help us find it. God will love to help us find it. There's a legendary preacher named Fred Craddock who told a story about back in the old days when he was a pastor in this small church, probably a church about like this, in this small town, about 4 churches in this town and 1 restaurant, like spokes, I guess. And he said most of the time this restaurant had the best attendance of the 5. And he said this is true of every restaurant in every small town, everywhere. There was a group of guys, the same group of guys, that came to this restaurant every morning to sit around the same table and drink coffee and tell lies. You can see that in Spokes. You can see it in any restaurant around the country. These old guys that sit around, drink coffee, and tell lies, especially on Sunday mornings when their wives were at church. And there was one old guy there. His name was Frank. 77 years old, tough old guy, an old farmer, rancher, good old boy. But he was like the patron saint of the place, right? Every one of those groups has a leader. He was like the king. And they all told this young preacher starting out, you are not going to get Frank to go to church. You will never get Frank to go to church. Him, not in a million years. And it seemed like they were right, because every time Frank saw any preacher, anytime, he would always say the same thing. Now look here, I work hard, I take care of my family, and I mind my business. And as far as I'm concerned, everything else is a bunch of hooey. Said that again and again and again. Everybody could say it with him. Which is why everybody was really, really shocked. Everybody just flipped out the Sunday morning when Frank showed up in church. Sat down toward the front in the church. And not only did he come to church, but after the sermon, he came up and wanted to be baptized. So they baptized him. And everybody was in shock, and everybody started talking. They said, he must be about to die. He's got cancer or something. He's going to die. And so a couple of weeks later, the pastor went out to see Frank to find out if he was going to die. He wasn't going to die. And he said, you know that thing that you always used to say to me, that thing about I work hard, I take care of my family, and I mind my business, and everything else is hooey? And Frank said, oh yeah. He says, I've said that 1,000 times. And the preacher said, well, what happened to that? And Frank said, nothing. I still believe that. And the preacher said, well, then why did you come down and get baptized? And he thought for a second, and then he said, well, I guess I finally figured out what my real business was. Finally found out what my real business was. He realized that he was here to love people and to share the light. That is our mission. And if we miss the mission, we will miss life. That is why we were here. That is how we know we are really, really living. So let's all stand together. All right. Several years ago, there was a commercial on TV for, I think it was for like a website, a job finding website, monster.com or one of those. And it was sort of a funny commercial, but it was also sort of depressing. It showed all these little kids, and they were asking the little kids what they wanted to be when they grow up. They were saying what they wanted to be, but they said things that little kids would never say. Like, when I grow up, I want to file all day. Or, I want to claw my way